investigative call Christina Bloom.
Okay. Okay, we will presume the witness has been sworn and proceed.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I'm Christina Bloom.
Where are you from, Ms. Bloom?
I'm from Tall Tree, just a couple hours from Orange.
And how old are you?
I'm 21.
Are you in college?
Yeah, I go to Tall Tree College.
Did you know Kay Denning?
Yeah, Kay and I were best friends. We grew up together.
Tell us about your friendship with Kay Denning.
I mean, we grew up together. We did everything together.
Did Kay go to Tall Tree College with you?
No, Kay went to University of Middle Sunshine.
Why didn't you go to University of Middle Sunshine, Ms. Bloom?
Well, I applied, but I didn't get in. I was convicted of a crime soon before I applied, so I think that's why I didn't get in.
Were you with Kay on the weekend of May 24th, 2019?
I was.
What time did you get into town?
I got into town around 4 p.m. and then met up with Kay.
What did you and Kay do after you met up with her?
We went to this great little Mexican restaurant on campus and then just looked for a place to hang out. That's when we walked past the Zeta New House.
What did you see while walking past the Zeta New House?
We saw they were setting up their house for a party and they created a beach in their front yard.
Ms. Bloom, what do you mean by they created a beach?
It was pretty wild, actually. They had hauled in all this sand and created a pool out of tarps and filled it with water. There was a tiki hut, a lifeguard chair. It was like a real beach.
Did you see anyone while walking by this?
That's when we met Andre Dornberg. He was on top of the lifeguard chair.
What was Andre Dornberg doing?
He was yelling and calling out to us. He invited Kay to the party.
What happened after Andre invited Kay to the party?
We talked with him briefly and Kay gave him her phone number and then I also gave him my number and then we went back to the sorority house.
And what did you two do at the sorority house?
We just got ready for the night, caught up a little bit more, but Kay seemed a little bit off.
Did you ask Kay what was wrong?
Yeah, I did.
And what was it?
She was really stressed and worried. She was suspended from her sorority, so she had to move out by the end of the semester and had to pack up all of her things. She had dropped all of her courses, and that's why she was suspended, and she hadn't told her mom yet, so there was just a lot going on.
Did she tell you anything else about this?
No, I could tell she didn't really want to talk about it, so I kind of dropped it.
And what did you and Kay do after you had this talk?
Well, after that, we just got ready and went back to the Zeta New House to go to the party.
Were you able to get in the party?
No, we tried to go with a group from the sorority, but when we got there, they were checking IDs at the door and Kay forgot her ID, so we couldn't get in.
What did you and Kay do after you weren't able to get into that party?
Kay just took us to another party down the street at an apartment nearby.
What time did you get there?
Around 10 p.m.
How long did you stay?
About 3 hours.
What were you and Kay doing at this other party?
Nothing crazy, it was pretty casual. We were just hanging out, had a few drinks.
Were you drinking a lot?
No, I wasn't drinking a lot. I'm not really a big drinker, but I had a couple.
Was Kay drinking a lot?
She had more than I did. She had 3 or 4 vodka cranberries, a couple shots, and smoked a bit of marijuana.
What was Kay like by the time you were ready to leave that party?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. We were all in college and had pretty high tolerances, but she did seem pretty drunk.
Did you notice anything about Kay while you two were at the party?
I mean, other than hanging out, she was just texting somebody. I think it was Andre Dornberg.
What happened when you guys were ready to leave?
Well, when we were ready to leave, Kay went to the bathroom and then I lost track of her. So I actually texted Andre too and just let him know that I thought she shouldn't be out anymore.
So you texted Andre, were you able to find Kay after that?
No, I wasn't. So after I couldn't find her, then I texted him again and let him know I was worried about her actually and thought she might be headed over to Zeta Nu.
Did Andre ever reply to those texts?
No, he didn't. Not until much later.
So Andre doesn't reply, what do you do next?
Well, after I didn't hear from him, I went back to the Zeta Nu house. I just had a feeling that's where Kay would have gone.
And you went back to the Zeta New house, what did you see?
Well, I saw Andre Dornberg running out of the house and he was yelling, "Hey baby, I'm here to top you off, don't go diving without me."
Objection, hearsay. Response.
Your Honor, this is hearsay, but this fits within the exception in 90-803-18D. This is an opposing party statement by an agent of the opposing party, if I may proffer, Your Honor.
Are we sidebar?
May we sidebar, Your Honor?
Yes, and you may.
Your Honor, there will be testimony that Andre Dornberg is an agent of the fraternity. He planned this party. He makes decisions on behalf of the fraternity, so his statements are the fraternity statements.
Defense response.
Your Honor, we argue that this is an out-of-court statement made by a declarant being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. We argue that there is no relevance to this comment and this particular instance, and therefore, shall not be permitted.
Well, the objection was hearsay, not relevance. How do you respond to plaintiff's argument that this is, these statements were made by an agent of the fraternity?
We argue that Mr. Dornberg is not an agent of the fraternity in this instance. The party was over, his duties were done, and there was no agent responsibility at this time the statement they're saying was made.
Okay, overruled.
Ms. Bloom, what did you see when you got to the house?
I saw Andre Dornberg running out of the house and he was saying, "Hey baby, I'm here to top you off, don't go diving without me."
Were you able to find Kay?
Yeah, I was.
What was Kay doing?
She was climbing the lifeguard chair.
Ms. Bloom, why would Kay climb the lifeguard chair?
Well, because Andre had just said, "Don't go diving without me," I assumed they had plans to dive
Objection,
off.
Your Honor, speculation.
Response.
Your Honor, Ms. Bloom was with Ms. Denning the entire night. She has personal knowledge of what Ms. Denning was doing, and she was at the house when she saw Ms. Denning climbing the lifeguard chair.
Yeah, understood, but I don't know that she knew what Kay Denning was thinking that night, considering her response started with, "I assume." I'm gonna go ahead and sustain the objection and ask the jury to disregard, Ms. Bloom's previous statement. You can move on with your direct.
Ms. Bloom, what happened when Kay got to the top of the lifeguard chair?
Well, she got to the top and she slipped and wobbled and fell into the pool.
What happened after Kay fell?
Courtney and Andre got her out of the water, but I don't really remember much else. The next thing I remember hearing was the sirens.
Did you talk to Mr. Dornberg again that night?
Yeah, I did.
What was that conversation like?
It wasn't much of a conversation. He texted me around 3:30 in the morning and said he was sorry and that it was all his fault.
Ms. Bloom, I want to take you back to when you got to the house that night. Did you see any cones around the lifeguard chair?
No,
Did you see any caution tape around the lifeguard chair?
no,
Did you see any warning signs around the lifeguard chair?
no,
Did you see anything that would have prevented Kay Denning from being able to climb to the top of that lifeguard chair?
no.
No further questions.
Cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bloom, you were visiting your friend Kay Denning at her school on May 24th, 2019.
Yes,
And after you and Miss Denning went to dinner that evening, you then walked by the Zeta Nu fraternity.
yes,
It was early enough in the day, the sun was still out.
yeah, I guess so.
You could see the beach set up at the fraternity.
Yeah,
You could see the sand,
yes,
you could see the water,
yes,
and you could see the lifeguard chair.
yeah,
That was in the water.
yeah.
And Miss Denning was next to you at this time,
Yeah, we were on the sidewalk together.
and there was nothing that could impair her vision at that moment.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I'm gonna sustain the objection and ask you to rephrase the question.
And Miss Denning was standing next to you at that time.
Yeah, we were on the sidewalk together.
You then saw Mr. Dornberg then called over to you and Miss Denning,
Yeah,
and he then climbed down the lifeguard chair.
yes,
And he walked over to you and Miss Denning through the water.
yes,
And he stood in that water while he began talking to you and Miss Denning.
yes.
He invited Miss Denning to the party later that evening.
Yeah, he did. He really wanted her to come.
And Miss Denning then gave him her number.
Yes,
And you gave him your number as well.
yeah,
After you left the fraternity, you and Miss Denning went back to her sorority house.
right.
Miss Denning was upset.
Yeah, she seemed a little off. I don't know if she was mad.
She was upset because she was suspended from her sorority.
Yes,
But she wasn't just upset because of that.
I don't know.
She was upset because she dropped out of all of her classes
Yes,
and she was gonna have to leave school.
yeah, she had definitely had to move out of the sorority. I don't know for sure what's going on with school.
And she hadn't told her mom yet.
No,
Miss Denning was just wanting to have a good time that night.
yeah, she said something like that.
In fact, she wanted to have as much fun as possible.
She said that, yeah.
Later that evening, you and Miss Denning then went back to the fraternity house for the party.
Yeah,
And as soon as you got there, you knew you weren't gonna be able to get in.
we didn't know that for sure. I mean, we went there because we thought we could go in.
You saw a sign hanging on the door.
Yes.
And not just a sign, but a big sign.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't small.
The sign was 5 to 6 feet long.
If I had to guess, yeah, it was about that size.
Miss Bloom, how tall are you?
I'm about 5.5 feet.
Yeah, wow, so the sign was about your height or maybe even bigger.
I guess so.
But that wasn't the first warning you got that you weren't gonna be able to enter the party.
I don't know. I mean, Andre invited us. That's why we went.
Back at the sorority house, when you were getting ready, you saw an invitation.
I did.
This invitation was for the Miss Denning sorority Kai Pi.
Yes.
And it stated that only sorority sisters in good standing would be permitted into the party,
Yeah, I think so.
and also sorority sisters of legal drinking age.
Right.
But Miss Denning wasn't in good standing with her sorority,
No.
and she wasn't of legal drinking age, and neither were you.
No.
So you must have known that you weren't gonna get in to the party.
I mean, we didn't know. College parties aren't always that strict, so we still tried.
Back at the party, you saw a guard at the door,
Yes.
and that guard was checking IDs.
Yeah.
And when you and Miss Denning tried to get into the party, you were denied entry.
Yeah, because Kay didn't have her ID, we couldn't get in.
Right. So after you couldn't get in, you guys then go to another party down the road.
Yes.
You got into this party with no issue.
Yeah.
Even though Miss Denning still didn't have her ID.
Right.
And at this party, Miss Denning drank a lot.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
She drank 3 to 4 vodka cranberries.
Yeah.
She had some shots.
Yes.
And on top of the 3 to 4 vodka cranberries and the shots, she had some hits of marijuana
Yeah, she was smoking.
and a pot brownie.
I'm not sure, but yeah, she might have.
And that's only what you saw her drink that night.
Yeah.
It could have been more.
I guess it could have been.
And you were worried about Kay.
Yeah, I was a little worried. I mean, like I said, she was really stressed and stuff earlier in the day, so
You told her at the party and she should go home.
I think I mentioned that, yeah, we should head out.
But you lost Miss Denning at 1 a.m.
Yeah, it was around 1.
You then went back to the fraternity house to find her.
Yeah.
And once you got to the fraternity house, you saw Miss Denning climbing the lifeguard chair.
Yes.
You saw her slip and stumble up each rung of the chair until she made sure she got herself to the top.
Yes.
No one was pushing Miss Denning up the lifeguard chair when you saw her.
No.
In fact, no one was near Miss Denning when you saw her do that.
And there were people around, but yeah, no one was by the chair.
And no one pushed Miss Denning when she then jumped off the lifeguard chair.
No.
But yet, you blame Andre Dornberg for what happened.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that invited Kay. It was all his fault. He's the reason she was there.
You think he is responsible for what happened?
I do.
Ms. Denning, Ms. Bloom, you're here testifying on behalf of the plaintiff.
Yeah,
Kay was your friend.
Yeah.
Kay was your best friend.
yes,
You would do anything for her within reason.
Yeah.
You would do anything for her family.
I would.
And Ms. Bloom, I have to ask, you don't think Ms. Denning was at all responsible for what happened on May 24th?
No, she's not the one that set up the lifeguard chair.
But no one forced Ms. Denning to drink that night.
No.
No one forced Ms. Denning to climb that lifeguard stand.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
No one forced Ms. Denning to jump. Your Honor, no one forced Ms. Denning to jump off the lifeguard stand that night.
No.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Your Honor, if I may respond.
I'll hear it.
I stated earlier, no one pushed like this. Force can mean many things. It can mean force via verbal interactions or prior incidences. It's not a push. It's a different phrase and being used in a different way.
I'll take it, overruled.
So one more time, Ms. Bloom. No one forced Ms. Denning to jump off the lifeguard stand that night.
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Redirect.
Ms. Bloom, when you went back to the house that night, did you see anything that would have prevented college students from being able to climb that chair?
No.
And when you went back to the house, did you see anyone supervising the area around the pool?
No.
No further questions.